pretty much just want to show you guys two different techniques for sight fishing today. It's going to be really simple and just kind of straightforward. One's going to be called a horizontal presentation, other one's going to be a vertical presentation. Now I chose this water right behind us because it's going to be a perfect example for what I mean by a horizontal presentation. I'm going to show you guys how to do it from beginning to end, and hopefully we'll get into some nice fish here, so let's give it a shot. We're just going to start with the basic mechanics of what we got going on here with a horizontal, like I like to call it, presentation. The basic idea with this is we want both of these flies to be in front of the fish's face at the exact same time. So we're not going to start fishing just yet. I want to show you guys the basic mechanics and the casting. It's really simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start on my right side. I'm going to point my rod to the right. Water's flowing from the right to the left, so I want to start above them and let it drift down. Now I'm fishing unweighted, but remember, before you even start casting, you want to make sure you have your split shot correct. For this type of rig that I'm throwing, I think my attractor should get me down to depth without needing any split shot. So all I'm going to do for this type of presentation is I'm just going to start on my right side and I'm going to make just a circle. So you can see how I'm just making a circle. I have my line pinched between my pointer finger and the rod handle. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow me to really get those flies pointed out completely in that direction. So that's basically what it should look like. And you can see when I make that cast, I can not only see, where my indicator is landing, but I can also see where my flies are landing. One of the benefits of that is, as soon as your flies go into the water, a lot of people get frustrated because they can't see them unless you're throwing a big streamer. So with a horizontal presentation, you're kind of making an educated guess on where your flies are. You don't exactly know where they are, but when you see them land in the water, you can kind of gauge the distance between your indicator and your bottom fly, and that's going to allow you, or it's going to help you to put those flies in front of that fish's face. So let's start again. We're just going to do our regular cast. I can see where the indicator lands and I can see where the flies land. I'm going to do it one more time. That's really all there is to it. I'm using the momentum of the cast to get those flies to point completely straight out. So part two of this is going to be putting those flies in front of the fish's face. So we're going to try to put a fish in the net here. I see 4 or 5 just kind of swimming around here. Let's see if they want what I have on. One thing to remember with sight fishing is you kind of want to go back and forth between 3 things. You want to know where your indicator is, you want to know where your flies are, and you want to know where the fish is. You always want to have a target fish. You don't want to just be casting mindlessly into a hole. And there we go. So what happened there is I actually barely saw the indicator move, but I actually saw his mouth open up. So that's what told me that he ate the fly. Oh, and he popped up. Well, let's do that again. See if we can get another one in the net. There he is. So you can see there, pretty much all I did is I just put it in front of his face. I gave him the option to eat either my bottom fly or my top fly. So I think one time a year that our fisheries really tend to suffer is because of the winter. A lot of people wear gloves, myself included. A lot of people still want to take pictures with their fish, and that's totally okay, but just remember to take your gloves off and protect their slime coating. It's a beautiful fish. So I think what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go down and around, and we're gonna go fish that other side for a little bit. We don't want to walk in front of it because that's shuffling technically, and we don't want to chum the water up. Before we do that though, I just want to highlight and just talk more about what the horizontal presentation is. So the reason those fish decided to eat is because they were given easy access, right? They were given access to both of these flies at the same time. So the fish, from the fish's perspective, it can either go right or it can go left, or it can just totally leave, you know, which is usually the case, and just completely disappear. The basic idea here is trout are convenience eaters, and if you fished a tailwater before, you know it can be a little bit finicky. Now, had I casted a little bit more upriver, and this is actually going to be part 2 of what we're going to do, had I casted a little bit more upriver, more than likely my flies would have hit bottom before it got to the fish. So we're going to go more into depth with that on the second part, but that kind of highlights the importance of a horizontal presentation. You're putting both of those flies in front of their face at the exact same time. So now that we're on the other side, I'm really not going to do anything different other than the fact that I'm going to start my cast on my left side, and I'm going to make a circle on my left rather than my right. And the reason I want to do that is because if I cast on my right and I want to cast upstream, those flies are going to come down at an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on my left side, and I'm just going to make a circle on my left out in front of me in that direction. There we go. He finally decided to eat it. That was the one I was looking at for quite some time. This is one big, nice, healthy fish. Get him back in the water. All right, so part 2 of this video. Phone's charged up, batteries are ready to go. Hopefully I don't drop anything in the water. So part 2 of this is gonna be a vertical presentation. So the basic idea with this, and we're gonna start fishing here in a second. I'm gonna turn the camera around. When we were fishing horizontally, we weren't letting those flies get very deep. Setup is still pretty much gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna have my attractor on top, and I'm gonna have a split shot above it. Now with this type of cast or presentation, whatever you want to call it, we can go a little bit heavier. This pocket that we're gonna fish is a little bit deeper, it's a little bit faster, but let's go ahead and we'll get out there. I'm just gonna run you guys through how this works. So you can see with this type of presentation, all I'm really doing is I'm just gonna stick my rod out right in front of me. I'm gonna lift it up, and instead of making a circle on my right side or on my left side, I'm gonna make a circle in front of me, and I'm gonna try to hit that foam line right there. So all I'm gonna do is stick it out just like this. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pick it up, and you can almost think of it as a clock. I'm just gonna kind of make a circle and get it into that foam line. Just like that. And as it travels, those flies are gonna go down, but you can see sometimes on the drop, those fish will pick it up right away. Beautiful fish, let him go. The first thing I'm gonna do before I make a cast is I'm gonna put a different size split shot on. I need to go a little heavier. Every cast you make counts. The last thing you wanna do is walk into a spot and just start mindlessly casting. You wanna make your adjustments before you start fishing. So with the vertical presentation, again, point the rod straight out in front of me, lift, and then flick over there. And there we are. That didn't take very long. Good thing to think about when you're fighting a fish in a current like this is you don't want to have your rod pointing straight up just like this. You want to lead him and you want to get him out of that fast stuff. So keep a nice angle in your rod. Try to get him out of the fast current without forcing him too much. Another nice looking fish. One thing you'll notice about fishing the main channel is not only are some of these fish a lot healthier than the other ones, but they also fight quite a bit harder. Due in part because of the current, but also because these ones don't get caught as often. There's plenty of fish back here. Oh, and there's one actually on the hang. As I was lifting up, that one came up. Bad. So he's not gonna go in the net. I saw an indicator dive down, saw him eat it. That's all there is to it. Come to my attention that the weather has taken a turn for the worse, so I think we're just gonna fish for a little bit longer. Maybe just put some fish in the net, have a little fun, using the same techniques that I showed you guys, and then we'll wrap it up, call it a day. Boom. So I think we're gonna call it a day. We did get that last fish into the net. It ended up being the biggest fish of the day. It was a big, nice, healthy brown. We were using the vertical type presentation. I think that's just about it. I just wanna say before we go, thank you to everyone that has been subscribed to my channel since the very beginning. I wanna say thank you to my family and friends, you know who you are, for supporting me throughout this entire process. I had a very successful first season of guiding. I'm absolutely in love with it, and thank you. See you guys in the next one.